into round two, and we're hopefully going to do 3 rounds today. So, Andy, you've done it so well year in and year out. You're trying to sneak a little bit more into the event all the time, but hey, it might be that nature. Well, hey, we know with twilight time, as we're called down here, folks, we could still be racing till 9 o'clock at night. There would be no fear of that whatsoever. Whereas in the North Island, it might be on to darkness. We could be here till 9 o'clock in the twilight time. So great to see. All right, let's take our program, go all the way back to where we've started today. This is called Super Motard, now in the world called Super Moto is the name that's given to it. It has its own FIM World Championship as well. It's a fabulous part of our sport. And believe it or not, a few years ago, the number 1 track in the world was at All Countries Bulgaria. So Bulgaria claimed to fame. What they did was they got Kiwi track builder Greg Atkinson to build literally an undulating course, so something like motocross, even supercross without the severity of the jumps, but you get the idea. And then they completely compacted it, impacted it, and tar sealed it. And they made this amazing circuit, and it's been used for a World Championship round for a number of years. So there you go. Even Bulgaria can be involved in world motorcycle sport. The great thing with Super Motard is it actually doesn't have to take up a lot of room. You can take literally 100 hectares to make yourself a great Grand Prix circuit or racing circuit, as we see here at Teretonga. But when it comes to motard, it can be done in a much smaller area. We've seen a number of our events for motarding in New Zealand vary, still with Greymouth, for example, having what they call a dirt section. Wanganui did a number of years ago. Some of the other circuits did it having a little bit of dirt mixed with the tar seal as well. And it just gives you that opportunity to see the integration of the off-road riders into the on-road. So effectively, motards are a motocross bike modified, and man, are they getting modified now. All right, back to this race, and there he is, Damien Coppy, the hotshot from Australia, the man who did all the winning here about last year. Unfortunately, didn't win the big one, the Munro Trophy yesterday, as he had mechanical problems, but that's been repaired overnight, and the bike is back here. Speaking about problems yesterday, we had 4 significant riders have to withdraw from the race yesterday, so it certainly had its impact on our field, and we were only left with 5 finishes in the end. 5 finishes, the greatest attrition rate that we've ever seen here in the BurtMunro. But when you do 50 laps at full throttle, and it's hard on man, hard on machine, man, a man, talk about hard on machine, it is just holding that on. But in the end, it was the KTM of local man Greg Baines to win it. He's now become the most winning rider of that prestigious trophy, and man, did he ever put his arm up and pump it in the air and clench his fist as he went across the line. So much excitement, so much focus for Greg, thoroughly deserved of that glory. He wouldn't mind what other events he went into, and wherever he came in them, that would not matter. He comes to race the BurtMunro Trophy, because we're here at the BurtMunro Challenge, but that is an event that is the name of Burt. Now, in fact, it was first contested and Burt was still alive. It's not a memorial trophy, although effectively you could call it that now posthumously, but at the time it was the BurtMunro Trophy, a magnificent chunk of wood with the bronze casting on it as well. I've not even known of a heavier trophy. I've seen a lot of trophies in New Zealand motorcycle sport, so for pure size and pure weight, there would be nothing bigger and more momentous than the BurtMunro Trophy raced here in the 50 lapper on the beach yesterday. So congratulations out there to Greg Baines. And the reason I'm talking about that in relativity is that because the sort of bike that race are many of these bikes, because these guys can throw the knobbly tyre off and put the slicks on and come racing here on the track today on a very similar bike. Speaking about that, yesterday Heath Bodiker raced a KTM 1190 enduro bike on the beach, as well as an overheating problem. What I couldn't believe, in fact I took photos of it at the end of the day, he stripped the knobs off. He tore knobs off. Now, if you put a knobbly tyre on tar seal, yes, you could strip some knobs off, because you're putting a lot of pressure on a small amount of tyre. But excuse me, this is on the stand. Unbelievable to think. 2 factors that. First of all, the power of the 1190 is huge, but more importantly, the impact of the sand. That's why it became the other racetrack for Burt, because the sand here in Southland compacts so hard, the only thing missing is the tar seal on the top of it. You get the idea. So there you go, some of the impacting stories of yesterday's racing. Back to Moto South in our Super Motard field here today. Barry Summers, Damien Coppy, along with Carter Strang. Go to Mike Kyle in there. Jamie's got it. Oh, she got a terrible start. The lovely young lady, the 18-year-old from America, Jamie Ostadillo. and young Jamie there back in 5th place now. Alan Henry, Ian Young, go to Cole Scammell, who had the best time at the drags here, the high pull drags on Thursday night at 9.358. So great time to get a sub 10. In fact, that is almost 150 mile an hour from a standing start in motorcycle drags. It was incredible on the extended swing arm of a Suzuki Hayabusa. Of course, the machine which holds New Zealand's motorcycle land speed record set here in Southland back in 2000 on the Southern Suzuki by great pilot Johnny Hepburn. Here we are with Andrew Forward, Josh Iddles, to Charlie Lane and Anthony Cole, more of our pilots in motard racing. Not as big a motard field here today, and the reason for that is many of the motard riders will be saving themselves for tomorrow. Tomorrow, a big and exciting day, the Honda Street Race here on Bill Richardson Drive in Invercargill. And motards and street racing go together like strawberries and cream. You get the idea. Motard, these bikes more manoeuvrable, more slidable, less impacting. Of course, you don't have a big fairing. You can really throw the bikes around, and it gets to be a whole lot of fun. Not the latest and greatest as well. You'll find guys can win here on bikes that are maybe 8 or even 10 years old. So you don't have to have the best of technology, as it's all pretty similar in these modified off-road bikes. So Supermoto will be fantastic tomorrow, but here today, equally as exciting, but just a few less competitors. Damien Coppy has put himself back in front. Barry Summers out there. Now, the reason Barry's got a little bit of a nudge on him is he's on the Aprilia SXV. It's only one of its kind here in New Zealand. This is the Rip It Up energy drink, sponsored bike, piloted by none other than Daryl Atkins, the former Kiwi, now a resident in America, who came back to New Zealand. He was the SM2 World runner-up by one lousy point to a bloke called Mickey Diamond in America around 10 or more years ago. So he brought that bike back to New Zealand, and somebody else bought it, and Barry was able to buy it off them. So the Aprilia SXV technology, in fact, that was used by Aprilia to go racing in motocross as well. A twin-cylinder 550. They don't compete anymore with that, but they were eligible to do it in the past. And their most successful rider ever, in fact, was none other than Kiwi Josh Coppins, who was on board with the Aprilia in his twilight years of World Grand Prix motocross. So nice little stories there. All right, so Damien Coppy from Townsville, Australia. I'm sure he prefers to be wrestling the nice warm northwest breeze here in Southland today, compared to wrestling the crocodiles that could be up his tree in the backyard at his home in Townsville, as they've certainly had some strife of weather back home in the northern Queensland capital. So all the best to those people recovering there, as we wish to the people of Nelson, Tasman, with the disastrous worst bushfires in New Zealand history in the last 64 years. So wow, thinking of those people. All right, so Damien Coppy, Barry Summers, Carter Strang, two Southlanders behind the likeable Aussie Mike Cole, Jamie Ostadillo from USA ahead of Alan Henry, Ian Young, Cole Scammell, Andrew Forward, with Charlie Lane, Josh Iddles and Joel Cole. So there you have it, a nice update of racing at the moment in our Moto South Motard